Other important issues, and some of these definitely could be viewed as any project, any process, any lean thinking, anything you want to do. These are common things that I found that will inhibit your success. One is that you have no comprehensive plan, or if you have a plan, it's poor planning. So what is your plan to do improvement of your machine uptime? There's no buy-in. And when I say buy-in, it's not necessarily upper management. Perhaps the operators aren't buying in, the maintenance is not buying in, middle management's not buying in. It's going to take the teamwork of everyone involved to make this to work. So we have to spend some time on improving the buy-in process so that everybody gets involved. Another common issue is that the problem-solving skills of the people involved aren't at a higher level that need to be done, where they're actually looking at getting to root causes versus just putting Band-Aids on or doing simple fixes that they have done in the past. And those are issues that we experience all the time. In fact, I just experienced that a couple years ago in my truck, where I would go to the airport, leave my truck for 2 weeks, and come back, and my truck wouldn't start. Battery's dead. So I would get my truck started, get a jump, it'd work for a week, go back to the airport for 2 weeks to go to a client, go back to my truck after 2 weeks, and the battery's dead again. So get it jump started. So that's just a Band-Aid. It's not solving the problem. And then eventually it got to the point after a couple months of this with my traveling, even the jump start wouldn't work. So got a new battery. That worked fine for a couple months. And then after a couple, 3 months later, after a small trip to a client, come back to the airport, battery's dead again. So obviously I'm not getting to the root cause of my problem if I keep having the problem appear. So how many problems do we have that we experience with equipment? It happens in the past over and over and over again. So one of the questions I ask, has this happened before? Has it happened often? So when we get to the root causes, we want to really understand the problem. So I finally took it to a maintenance person that I trusted. And I said, look, don't tell me I need a new battery for my truck, because I know I need a new battery for my truck. However, something's causing these batteries not to work. I need to find the root cause. So let's go through it. So he did a comprehensive once over on the electrical draws that were happening in my truck. And he found a broken or a frayed wire underneath the passenger front seat where I have the power seat. So that draw was a 100% 24 hours, 7 days a week draw at such a low draw that it would drain the battery over time. And until I fix that as the root cause for the drain of the battery, I'd be replacing my battery every 3 months. So that's the kind of thinking that we want. And not all maintenance people are skilled at that, or not given the time to solve those problems. We need to get that machine up and running now. So just put the Band-Aid on and get it up and running because we need to make parts. That mentality, that attitude is one of the things that inhibits a good approach to solving and improving the uptime of our machines. And then there's poor company culture. We have toxic employees that we call them cave people. They're citizens against virtually everything. So no matter what you implement in the process, they're not going to get on board. So it's not a matter if you have a good idea or not. They usually don't get on board. So if you have toxic employees in your workplace, you're going to have to deal with those, because that's going to be a barrier to improve. Training programs are inadequate. And bottom line, this comes to weak execution. The ideas are great, TPM's great, weak execution, and then no coaching or mentoring or following up going forward. So those are all things that were in our thinking of what can we do different? How can we improve this process? So improving the process, we want to learn from the TPM model, which has got great elements. And then how can we improve that process? How can we make it simpler? How can we make it more robust? How can we make it where it's actually successful in the implementation?